All right, let's kick off this deep dive. And we've got a really interesting one today.
Oh, yeah. What's on the docket?
Well, we're getting a sneak peek at an upcoming podcast.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about internal audit and risk management.
Ooh, sounds juicy already.
But with a twist,
Lay it on me.
this podcast features Dr. Aroshan Indijiva and
Oh.
Thorindu Senanayake, and they were at Dialogue Axiata,
Dialogue Axiata. Remind me.
Sri Lanka's largest telecom company.
Ah, right.
And they actually implemented machine learning.
No way. For internal audit.
Yep, to catch fraudsters, like before they could even act.
Wow, that's Minority Report stuff, right?
Exactly. And get this, they did all of this back in 2018.
2018. That's early days for machine learning, especially in that field.
I know, right? What really got me was Dr. Aroshan's take on the whole thing.
What do you mean?
He was really frustrated with the traditional way internal audit was done.
Yeah, I can see why.
It's often very reactive, like they're only dealing with problems after they've already happened.
Yeah, it's all about looking back at financial data when it's too late.
Exactly.
Dr. Aroshan, he wanted to be proactive, right? He wanted to prevent fraud from happening in the first place.
Absolutely.
Did he come up with a new approach?
He did, a very innovative one.
I'm all ears.
He completely restructured the internal audit department to mirror the entire organization.
Oh, interesting.
They had dedicated teams for network operations, sales and marketing, fintech, cybersecurity, every part of the business.
Wow, so they could really get a deep understanding of the specific risks in each area.
Exactly. They started with some basic analytics software, but that was still limited to looking back in time.
So they were still playing catch-up, so to speak.
Right. The real game changer was when they decided to go all in on machine learning.
That's a bold move, especially back in 2018.
For sure. But they were facing some serious challenges.
Like what?
Limited resources, tight budget, and of course some skepticism from senior management.
Understandably, it's a big change, introducing something that cutting-edge.
Yeah, but this is where their resourcefulness really shines.
How so?
They used freely available Python scripts and algorithms to build their model.
Talk about scrappy.
Right. And they had to gather and clean massive amounts of telecom data to train this model.
Data is the fuel for machine learning, so that makes sense.
Yeah, but it wasn't just about throwing data at a computer.
So they had to really understand the data.
Absolutely. They analyzed customer behavior, segmented the data between prepaid and postpaid services.
So they were being really specific with how they were training the model.
Yeah, they had to fine-tune those algorithms to make sure they were as accurate as possible.
Accuracy is key, especially when dealing with something as sensitive as fraud detection.
Definitely. And you know what's amazing?
What?
Their hard work led to an outcome they never even expected.
Really? What happened?
Their machine learning model actually started to predict which distributors would fail.
Whoa, seriously? Like, ahead of time?
Yeah, like 3 or 4 months in advance.
Talk about a eureka moment.
Yeah. Right. And this unexpected capability became incredibly valuable for the business.
I bet. Being able to anticipate those kinds of things.
Yeah, it helped stabilize their entire distribution network.
Wow.
It just makes you wonder, what else is hidden in all that data just waiting to be discovered?
It really speaks to the power of machine learning to find patterns that humans might miss.
And it all started with this small team,
Yeah.
facing all these challenges, and they were so dedicated.
Your human element is so important in these stories, isn't it?
Absolutely. And Dr. Roshan, he was all about training and development.
Oh, so.
Well, he actually took an intern under his wing and basically turned him into their data scientist.
Wow, that's incredible.
Right. And get this homegrown data scientist ended up competing against experienced professionals at Dialogue Axiata.
No way. How did he do?
He won.
That's amazing. It really shows what's possible with the right guidance and mentorship.
For sure. And their entire team's hard work paid off big time.
How so?
They were recognized as the most technically advanced internal audit department within the entire Axiata group.
That's huge. So they were leading the way with this whole machine learning approach.
Yeah, it's a really inspiring story.
It sounds like it.
So let's dive a bit deeper into how they actually used machine learning to tackle fraud.
Yeah, I'm curious about the specific issues they were dealing with.
Well, one thing they uncovered was a really sophisticated money laundering scheme.
Money laundering. That's serious.
Yeah, it involved exploiting all these different cash cycles within Sri Lanka's telecom system.
Sounds complicated. How did their model help them with that?
They trained it to analyze huge amounts of transactional data, looking for those unusual patterns that might indicate fraud.
So it was like their early warning system.
Exactly. It flagged things that might have slipped through the cracks otherwise.
That's incredibly valuable, especially for a company as big and complex as Dialog Axiata.
Absolutely. And having a system that can adapt to all those new and evolving fraud tactics, it's a game changer.
It is.
But before we get too deep into all the details of their fraud detection methods,
Okay.
let's take a step back and talk about how they actually trained this model to recognize those patterns in the first place.
So how did they teach the model to spot these fraudulent patterns?
Well, they started by feeding it a ton of historical data,
Makes sense.
but it wasn't just any data.
Oh. What kind of data are we talking about?
Data on known fraud cases.
Ah, so the model could learn from past mistakes, so to speak.
Exactly. But they went even further.
Oh, really?
They included data on attempted fraud,
Interesting.
even cases where it wasn't successful.
So they basically showed the model what to look for, even if the fraudsters didn't quite pull it off.
Right. It was all about giving the model as much information as possible.
I see. So they turned their past experiences, good or bad, into a valuable learning tool for the model.
Exactly. And that's the beauty of machine learning.
It's constantly evolving.
Learning and improving with more data.
But gathering all that data, I imagine that wasn't easy.
Not at all,
Yep.
especially back in 2008.
Yeah. Big data analytics was still pretty new back then.
Exactly. They had to invest a lot of time and effort into cleaning and preparing the data.
That's always the unglamorous part of machine learning, isn't it?
It is, but it's crucial. Got to make sure it's all in a format the model can understand.
Right. Garbage in, garbage out, as they say.
Exactly. And their hard work really paid off.
So they had this meticulously prepared data set, and they fed it to their machine learning model.
Yep. And it started to effectively detect and prevent a whole range of fraudulent activities.
Impressive. They turned a reactive function into a proactive force.
Right. But it's important to remember that the technology is only part of the story.
The human element.
Exactly. Their dedication, their willingness to learn and grow, that was crucial.
Remember how they turned that intern into their homegrown data scientist?
Oh, yeah, that was amazing.
Talk about fostering talent from within.
Dr. Aroshan really went above and beyond.
Really?
Dedicated evenings to teaching him,
Wow, that's commitment.
starting with basic English grammar.
No way.
Yeah, and worked all the way up to these complex statistical concepts.
That's incredible.
And, the intern, he ended up competing against seasoned professionals at Dialog Axiata.
Yeah.
He won.
No way. That's amazing.
It just shows you the power of investing in people.
Right. And the whole team, they were recognized as the most technically advanced internal audit department within the entire Axiata group.
Yep. Talk about a success story.
It is. It really is. It's a testament to their vision and their hard work.
Absolutely. But it's also important to remember that their machine learning model, it wasn't fully automated.
Right. There was still a need for human intervention,
Exactly. The model, it acted like an early warning system.
flagging any suspicious activity,
Right. But it was ultimately up to the human team to investigate those red flags.
and decide what action to take.
Yeah. It was a partnership between human intelligence and artificial intelligence.
A powerful combination.
You need both to be truly effective.
Dr. Aroshan emphasized that their success was really rooted in understanding the business, and how fraud could manifest within their specific context.
They didn't just blindly apply algorithms.
They tailored their approach to their organization,
They spent hours and hours analyzing past cases
looking for those subtle indicators.
that often preceded fraudulent activity.
So they were teaching the model to think like a seasoned fraud investigator.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They combined their expertise with the power of machine learning,
To create a system that was adaptable and effective,
and they kept feeding the model new data all the time,
keeping it up to date.
staying ahead of the curve.
But it wasn't just about preventing financial losses, right?
Right. Fraud can damage a company's reputation,
Absolutely.
and their model helped mitigate that risk by identifying potential issues before they blew up into huge scandals.
Protecting their finances and their reputation.
Exactly. Their work went beyond just the traditional role of internal audit,
They were innovators,
using technology to solve real problems.
creating lasting value for their organization.
It's a really inspiring story.
Now, before we move on, there was that unexpected outcome.
The eureka moment.
Yes, their ability to predict distributor failures.
Right. While they were focused on fraud, their model stumbled upon something incredible.
It could predict which distributors would fail months in advance.
Just by analyzing data like sales patterns, inventory levels, payment histories,
Wow, how is that even
the
possible?
model was picking up on these subtle signals.
That humans were missing.
That's amazing, isn't it?
It really is. Talk about a game changer for their distribution network.
And it shows just how powerful machine learning can be,
Mm.
uncovering insights, providing foresight.
It's a classic example of how technology intended for one purpose can have these far-reaching applications.
Unlocking unexpected value.
And it raises a really interesting question.
What's that?
If a small team with limited resources could achieve all of this back in 2018, just imagine what's possible today.
It's incredible to think how much AI and data analytics has advanced since then.
I know, right? It's mind-blowing.
Cloud computing, powerful algorithms, platforms that make implementing machine learning so much easier.
Yeah, and the understanding of how to use all this technology to solve real business problems has also come a long way.
It's not just a niche field anymore. AI is everywhere.
And internal audit is no exception.
Yeah, in fact, I'd say it's one of the areas that could benefit the most.
Absolutely. Think about it. Internal audit is all about identifying risks, analyzing data, ensuring compliance.
All those tasks that AI and machine learning are perfect for.
It's like having a team of virtual auditors, constantly scanning for any anomalies.
Working 24/7.
Exactly. And that frees up human auditors to focus on the more complex stuff.
Using their judgment and expertise to investigate and come up with solutions.
It's not about replacing humans. It's about giving them superpowers.
Augmenting their abilities with technology.
Exactly. A powerful combination that can turn internal audit into this proactive force.
Helping organizations make smarter decisions.
Instead of just reacting to problems, they can anticipate future risks.
Use data to shape strategic decision-making.
That's the future that Dr. Aroshan's work was pointing towards.
And it's becoming a reality faster than we think.
It's a call to action for all of us, whether you're in finance, healthcare, manufacturing, any industry.
There are so many opportunities to leverage AI and data analytics.
Don't be intimidated by the technology.
There are so many resources out there to help you get started.
Just be curious, experiment, keep learning.
Like Dr. Aroshan and his team, they achieve so much with limited resources.
Imagine what you could do today with all the advancements we have.
It's an inspiring story. It shows that innovation can come from anywhere.
With the right mindset, the right determination.
We can all make a difference.
Well, that wraps up our deep dive into this incredible podcast.
It's amazing to see how this small team used machine learning to transform internal audit.
Paving the way for a future where AI helps us manage risk more effectively.
It's a story about the power of technology, but also about human ingenuity and collaboration.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. And until next time, keep those minds curious.